Congratulations! You are at the right place at the right time to start your day with a lightning bolt of energy. Most news programming, morning talk shows, or other podcasts are not launching you into your day or accessing even a fraction of your greatness and potential. If you want more money in less time with more magic, and if you want to find what works to scale your sales and business with the actionable formula of formulas, then the Unblinded Huddle is the #1 way to start your day with an infusion of integrity-based human influence. With your host, Sean Callagy and the Unblinded team, and the entire Unblinded movement.
What is going on, Unblinded? What is happening? Hello and great rising. Good morning and hallelujah. So happy to be here with everyone on this beautiful Trajectory Tuesday as we get ready for yet another powerful morning huddle. What is present for everyone in the ecosystem, in the chat? Let's say hello. Let's drop one word. How are we feeling? What are we thinking? What is going through our mind? What are we present to as we accelerate, as we come together, as we build this family, as we support each other, and as we learn and as we grow and as we come together, because so much is happening, so much acceleration. We have our Business of Unblinded call today. How exciting is that? Hundreds of people are coming together to make more money in less time with more magic, and it wouldn't be a reality without every single one of you. So as we take some time to wait, as we bring in our amazing guests, I believe we have Jim Carroll and Rob Gill today. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Sean Callagy, you are here with us.
Fernando, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's happening, Sean? How are you?
Good. How are you feeling?
Oh, man, I am pumped, ready, and back with a vengeance. Unblinded has no idea what's cooking, and it's happening. It's going down. Thunderbolts every day. I'm taking the title from Jared. You can call me Zeus now. What's happening?
Whoa. I love that, Fernando. I love the Zeus energy. So what is present for me? Good. You're going to go to the chat, though, I think, right?
No, the chat is flying. Everyone's saying, what's up? What's going on? So back to you. What's up with you, sir?
Yeah, so it's Trajectory Tuesday, and we just came off the Mastery call, and incredible team, folks, ecosystem. And what is present for me is the blockage of trajectory acceleration for people is rooted in people not knowing what they don't know. And you're like, well, no kidding, Sean. Like, I hear a lot of people say that. But I think that what is so interesting is that I think people's understanding collectively, the norm of process mastery acceleration for building their business, like process mastery acceleration for building their business, sits somewhere around a 2 to 3 for 99% of the population. So virtually everybody on this, I'm saying this in total love. You can say, you know what, dude, screw you. Okay, like, please don't say that. I love you. I care about you. But we have come off of the real raws with people that are some people worth 9 figures, you know, in the hundreds of millions, centimillionaires. And these are brilliant people. And there's things they know that I don't know, right? And some of those things came out of the conversations. What also came out of the conversation, though, is that the most basic way that a person goes from making 200,000 to 400,000, 400 to 6 or 8, or 1 to 2, $1 million to $1.5 million, $1.5 million to 2.5. Those leverage points, I think, are seen in a large, confusing grouping. So the trajectory change in this Trajectory Tuesday that we're seeking is dramatically limited by a over-chunked, overwhelmed amount of like books, concepts, thoughts, stuff. And what we're working on helping co-creating an understanding of, unblinding people too, is just to think very simply, like, what is it that I do to create a higher, more ecosystem mergers? Like, by the way, footnote, what even is an ecosystem merger actually, okay? More frictionlessness, and how do I do that? to a higher quantity of quality sales meetings so I have more sales, and counting those things. And if I were to ask everybody in this line, because I did this test, so there's a test, right? And we should update the test, but Jared, if you wouldn't mind, let's throw the test in for people to take just for fun. It'll take probably 15 minutes. And we're going to update this because there's, I think, some new distinctions that are critically important that have emerged for me in understanding where people are in their understanding. But if we had people right now just answer, like, how many ecosystems do you have? What's the quality of frictionlessness? How many sales meetings are they generating? What quality? How many sales? 99% of people would not have answers. And how do I know that? Because I'm talking to people every day. And these are successful people. Successful in the terms of, again, in the millions. And people making $500,000, $750,000, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, and up. And you go, well, then how are they so successful? And they're so successful because they found their way there, because they're brilliant. They're brilliant. And they found their way there. Like, I found my way there, piecing it together, stitching it together, stitching, piecing, stitching, right? And this is how I went from quitting my job, starting my law firm, my credit card, to having the 40-person law firm, the stories that I tell, right? And so now what I'm not telling you is, hey, listen to us so you can build Microsoft. Like, I didn't do that. So this is not about how do you build a multi-billion-dollar company. That's not what we're teaching here. We are teaching here, how do you take yourself from 200 to 400, 400 to 800, all the numbers we said before in income. And then how do you create more scale and leverage and freedom? Because I think that's what 99+% of people want. And then they want some level of fulfillment so they can teach it to other people. And that's what we're doing here. But the fundamental, like, off the road initial disconnect continues to be the unknowing knowingness. Like, the unknowing knowingness. So a big thing I'm present to, Fernando, at this juncture is disrupting unknowing knowingness. Like, unblinding people to the knowingness that they don't know they have, who are beautiful, innocent, wonderful souls, who are so excited to teach and share and give to other people. Like, when I listen, so yesterday I had a conversation with Brad Sugars from Action Coaching with Jared. It was an unbelievable call of, like, just like process mastery, like fire, lightning bolts, disruptions all over the place, both ways. And what I was present to immediately when Brad got into a part of the conversation about licensing, certification, and franchising, I realized that my awareness in certain parts of that was 1/100th of his. It was probably 10 to 50 times the average successful business person higher I am, but I was a child to his mastery in that space, right? So immediately, the way I've conditioned my brain is to go into deep listening immediately and absorption, and see how that fits into my process mastery and exponential leveraging distinctions I don't have. So on this trajectory Tuesday, if I could leave you today with one thing, it is two things actually. One is to adopt an influence, self, and process mastery formula of thinking. Please, let's put the formula on the board, on the screen, and take a snapshot. And at least know these things conceptually, and sharpen your listening into increasing your level of mastery in process, its subcomponents, including marketing process mastery, as well as influence and self. And that's what I'm present to today, Fernando, is that our mission at Unblinded is to help unblind people who are here, who are wonderful, who are incredible, who are taking the action step, and they're like half kind of listening. And that includes amazing people like Rob Gill. And Rob has had extraordinary breakthroughs in the last month. And we've been working together for 2 years, because each place we get to, we build like, okay, I get it now. I got it. I get it now. We love saying that. Like, I've got it, right? And where I'm challenging you to be in the space of mastery, which Gene McNaughton, we had a beautiful conversation yesterday, and he said, he's like, listen, mastery means, which I totally agree with, that we never, ever get there. And so we're not as focused on like what we do know. And we're not focused on what we don't know, like in a wanting, immobile place. We're taking massive action and accelerating. Let me say one final thing on it, okay? The way it works is like this. So for those that were on yesterday, my son Tyler was on speaking, and thank you for the beautiful comments, the chat, text messages, phone calls. People are blowing up like, oh my God, you should be so proud. And he's so brilliant, all those things, right? Thank you. Thank you. And his level of mastery and his commitment to it in certain areas is high. Now, in terms of his process mastery acceleration, though, in his own ecosystem value, his place in the world of sharing his gifts, his talents, leadership, and influence, we've been having conversations that he should be running programs. He can. And there was a part of him in his own self-mastery that was feeling like, yeah, but I don't know my place, like in Unblinded. You don't need to know your place in Unblinded. Just make progress. That is your place, progress. So you build your ecosystem value. So if I'm having these conversations with my son, and then by the way, he did it, and now after taking action yesterday, he has like such an exponential increase in his clarity of what progress looks like next. So if we're talking about trajectory change after we disrupt knowingness, just realize it's self-influence, process mastery, progress. It's forward in action, innovate, action, innovate, action. So this is what I'm present to today. And I want to like drop this mic. I love you, your dreams, and your outcomes. But I am much less interested at this juncture in hearing that. And I'm super, absolutely grateful for it. That hearing you like and love me and are grateful, like I don't want that to go away. Like I do appreciate that. It's amazing. But I am much, much more committed to and interested in how you from this moment start counting the things we talked about counting, and you're watching your money increase, or if you have the money, you want the time, freedom, the leverage, that increases. Rob, Gill, and I are talking about the need for scaling, the need for other missing recruiting people and models that make that an incredibly valuable for the other person and profitable for Epic, and how to accelerate. So, and if this is your first day on the huddle, you're like, oh my God, do I have to know all this? And no, you don't. What you have to know is we're here to create more money in less time with more magic. And if you're like, oh my God, has the format changed? Like, where are the two people that are going to be on the role play? Yeah, every day we're going to do it a little differently. So we are giving some more content. We're going to have the role players on. We're innovating to perhaps have the person that wins the role play on the next day. So we are constantly varying so you don't get bored and we're not predictable. So we're constantly, you might go, well, I like it that way. Well, here's what Jared says about me. Be convinced of this. I am the most predictably unpredictable person, one of the most predictably unpredictable people you ever meet. And his final piece is, but it always ends well. So it's always going to end well. So Fernando, that's a long answer to what I'm present to. But that's what I'm present to, brother. Your thoughts?
Well, that is awesome. I just want to drop a little fun energy because we are Zeused up. It made me laugh. Liba says, because you were talking about Brad Sugar, she goes, Sean just likes anything with the word sugar in it. So I thought that was funny.
That is very true.
So that is true.
I will tell you what I said to Mona last night. She's like, oh my God, you said you weren't going to eat like the Oreos, and you didn't eat Oreos for a day with Sachin Patel and Peter Osborne, but you're eating them. I said, these are not Oreos. They're chocolate chip cookies.
And you are still in integrity. So with that, we do have two awesome people ready and geared up. We got Jim Carroll and Rob Gill. So if it's cool with you, Sean, let's bring them in. Let's talk about them. They're going to be role playing today. And I don't know if you know Rob Gill, but Rob Gill plays street ball. I'm talking elbows to the ribs, heels stepping on toes. And it's cool because I play the same type of basketball, so we bond on that. So I'm just going to take a second to introduce them properly. And we'll start off with Jim Carroll, who is the Regional Vice President of National Life Group, expert in the field for over 24 years. And he changes salespeople's lives in National Life through training on conceptual selling across the country. Jim Carroll, he is a Texan. He is a calm man. He's like, Fernando, you have too much energy. Calm the hell down. And I'm like, no, sir, I'm here to accelerate like crazy. And we built an awesome relationship. And then we have the Rob Gill. I like to call him the mayor of money. He's an experienced financial professional with over 21 years in the industry. He's the founding member of Epic Wealth Management, Epic Insurance Services, and is a driving force behind the philosophy and direction of both companies. Oh, and by the way, Sean, he's one of your best friends. He's absolutely hilarious. He's a freaking lunatic. And they're both going to be going head to head. And I'm sorry, Rob, I've been coaching Jim up. That's all I'm going to say. I love you, but I'm rooting for Jim on this one. So we got Jim Carroll, National Life, Rob Gill, Epic Wealth, Sean Callagy. Take it away.
Rob Gill, the ambassador of results, mayor of money, formerly Big Sugar. Good morning, brother, and what is happening?
Happy Trajectory Tuesday, Sean. How are you? Happy day. Great intro. Lots of Zeus and Fernando. I'm rooting for Jim too.
So Rob Gill, you are one of the most covertly competitive humans I've ever met. So Jim, don't believe that for a second. Rob is a straight up street balling assassin, and coming from Hudson County, where Rob was born and I was born in New Jersey. Like the idea is you never let him see you coming. And that's why Rob is always looking over his shoulders. Like where's it coming from? Like, where's it coming from? Because he knows that's what he is, a straight up assassin. Tell me I'm wrong, Rob Gill.
100% correct.
Yeah,
we're working on progression every day. There's no graduation. There's just innovation.
Right. And I'm going to jump to Jim for a second. Back to you, Rob. Jim Carroll, what's up from Texas, brother? How are you?
Outstanding. Good morning, Unblinded.
Yeah. So thank you. So Jim, so impressed with what you're up to in the world. So looking forward to the educational dynamics and programs are going to bring through you to National Life. Thank you to Rob, because there's no Jim Carroll without Rob Gill. Rob is source. Thank you, Rob. So Jim, we had a meeting in Rob's office, and to nutshell that story, I came in Zeused up like a hurricane, and you had never recommended any outside training to anybody you ever dealt with. Like, why was that, and what did you see, and what the heck are you doing here talking to us?
Well, I got to go back one step further. Just to get there, Rob's a busy guy. He runs a shop that is gone from 15 appointments a month to 150 a month. You know the story. And so I wanted to come visit. He said, hey, let's just do a Zoom call or an online webinar. And I said, you know, if you don't get me live, you don't really get me. And this was before Corona. So in October, I said, if I can't come in and change the way you're doing business and increase your business for your reps at least tenfold, I'll never ask you to come to your office again. He took a deep breath and he said, all right, here's the time I've got. So it's a full day training. Things are going well. Bob is a brother from another mother. He and I are so much in common. It's like Bill Lambier and Dennis Rodman playing basketball.
I do.
You don't have enough referees on the court, brother. I mean, it's you know.
I'm not sure if I'm Dennis Rodman.
You gotta be.
I do see.
I'm certainly not Bill Lambier.
Yeah, I see Jim as Bill Lambier, like, quietly, like elbows everywhere.
So we're in the middle of this training. It's going well. The group's doing well. I'm hitting on all cylinders, getting fired up.
Jim, while you're saying this, real quick, how many agents are under your? How many agents do you train, lead? In your work?
About 2,000 nationwide.
Okay.
We have a number of agencies that are coast to coast.
All right, so 2,000 agents are looking to your leadership, your teaching, your mentorship. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And our whole deal is we teach concept, not product, and interest rate. We teach how to create systems. 99% of all failures is a lack of the system. So we're clicking on all cylinders. And this guy named Sean Callagy walks in. I don't know him. I don't know who he is. Rob's kind of double booked, and he says, hey, you're going to have to take a break for about an hour. Sean's got this training that we're doing. You're welcome to sit in. And I'm thinking, okay, this is really nice.
Sean, keep in mind, I didn't prepare Jim for it, just so we're on the same page.
I am not.
I had no clue.
I'm not confused, Gil.
Sean goes from 0 to 150. I'm thinking, who in the hell is this guy? I mean, he's intense. He's in these guys' face. I'm like, hell of a trainer. Yeah, I'm blowing him off. And all of a sudden I hear a word or two and I'm like, okay, I like that. And I'm taking notes and I'm looking around and I'm leaning up to the table. I'm taking notes and I'm hearing things that I've heard all my life. I'm getting neuro associations to some of the best speakers I've ever heard. And I'm thinking, all right, I can take the intensity, let's go, brother. And long story short, we had dinner that night with Sean, which was not planned. And that's been since October. And we've gone 0 to 150 in our relationship with Unblinded.
Amazing. And you said, Jim, that day, and we'll give people the power of what we're doing with the real raw is to replicate that moment where Jim went from not knowing me to shooting a video saying in 24 years, I've never recommended any outside sales training. I'd recommend this. For a guy that is a genius in the space of leading 2,000 agents and has dropped the mic leader himself. Now Jim is saying that on a video in a couple of hours into our meeting. And
you didn't ask me to say it. It was truly sincere.
Yeah, no, and you're right. We shot a video together and he said it and I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you, Jim. So that's the power of the real raw. So Jim, let's pause for a second. Rob, Gill.
Yes.
What do you see here as the most selfish benefit for you of leveraging the platform of Unblinded? Just selfishly, for you to build, and I say selfishly, I don't mean morally repugnant.
Yep.
I just mean like what's in it for you that you see over the next 6 months, year, 2 and 5, for your family, for Epic, and all the people on your team and in your ecosystem.
The events like this today, is that what you're talking about?
Just being connected to Unblinded and what's happening.
Being able to recruit. What?
All of it, like all of it. Yeah.
If the world was just about Epic, it would be a farm system ground for not only developing new ecosystem mergers, but also a recruitment for ecosystem mergers to create planners in my space as well. So not only getting to be able to sit down with folks and go over their planning in all different shapes and sizes, but also being able to recruit and then creating some of these franchises that you and I briefly spoke about this weekend across the country.
Which means massive increase in financial abundance, meaning impact to contribute, give, share.
Yes.
Massive time freedom, like down the pike, and all the legacy magic you want. Fair statement?
Yep.
Okay. And so, and you were, and for those that don't know Rob came out of a Wall Street background, was incredibly trained in the superpower of influence, was a student of the amazing, incredible Robert Cialdini's work. Rob, what's the 6 steps of influence according to Robert Cialdini?
The 6 supreme esteemed pragmatic approaches: commitment and consistency, reciprocity, scarcity, liking, social proof, and authority. And we could have an hour conversation on each and every one of those pieces, which is why I think I was conditioned. And as Jim said, when he spoke about neuroassociative conditioning, the day I heard Sean the first time, it was almost like the Manchurian Candidate. I was just driven to him in a way that I had not been driven to somebody before.
Yeah. And now the drop the mic piece of this is, right, that it's not about me. It's about leveraging the dynamic of creating scotomas. So when you reel off the 6 steps of influence, or the elements of influence according to Cialdini, you create a scotoma. You opening the listening of people. Now, pause. For those that are like, all right, there's a lot of heavy energy. I love Rob to no end. I'm getting to love Jim, and I call Jim a friend now. I've gone up to their main headquarters, met with the CEO, right? Met with just their C-level grouping, right, of National Life. And we also laugh. Like, we don't take ourselves that seriously, right? We take our outcomes seriously, but we laugh. We're friends. We're brothers. We're having adventures. We're just like making fun of each other, eating pretzels and like shooting videos about it. So we talk about unblinded being seeing what you don't see, about the fun and excitement of exponentially growing your sales. Like, dude, who wants to just like burn it nonstop? I've lived my entire life taking time to celebrate. Like, I'm going to finish this, sun's out, I'm going to go jump in. Hopefully it's cracked 50 degrees, in the high 40s or 50 Atlantic Ocean, and just like live, enjoy. And that's what Unblinded is about, though. It's about not telling you need to be Rob, Gill, or Jim Carroll, or anybody. You don't need to be Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Bruce Springsteen, Tony Robbins. You don't need to be somebody making $1 million a year, or maybe you could be somebody making 10 million or more. That's not what we're teaching. We're teaching to decide what your life and legacy is, and then have the formula to create the business you want around the life you want at the core. And that's what this is really about. Rob, speak to the issue first, and then I'm back to Jim. I'm going to bring this home. Rob, how much fun do we have? Talk about like the fun side of our relationship, just like in the adventures, the trips, the phone calls, the laughs, like, so people get a model of what it looks like to ecosystem merge and the fun side of it.
The best visual I could paint is going back to high school, college days, and the relationships and the bonds that are formed back then, while being in a high level professional entrepreneurial space, is really the experience I have with Sean. Whether if we were in the schoolyard having fun, or as little kids, or and being competitive the whole way through, or going through airports, being on airplanes, doing videos, speaking. I mean, the reality is I speak on people's stages. That's like insane. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't even like part of the picture 2-3 years ago. You know what I mean? And, Jim Carroll comes in and he wants to hang out with us, and a lot of people just want to hang out with us. And, there's a lot of blind people running around, and there's everything is changing in every single space at every single moment. It's just like constant, consistent insanity. And it just makes sense and it feels right. And by the way, there's massive growth the whole way through. Yeah. So that's the best way I could describe that.
And here, Sean, you mind if I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, please, Fernando.
So, with all these agents, Jim's working with, and I'm so excited for the mergers we're doing. Let's just say they were to see this piece of content, and, I know we talked about sugar and cookies and things. What is the one thing, if you had to put it down into 2 sentences, that all the agents in National Life, their leaders, their trainers, the people that are dealing with Corona shifting, that we're used to talking to people and now can't, what would you say in, 60 seconds that they're not seeing about what's possible, and what maybe they don't know about Unblinded? What's like a piece of information that you can give Jim to the agents? And then maybe I'd like to hear what Jim has to say on what maybe their agents could see as well. So Sean, what is like something that their agents are not seeing, or just overall agents in general are not seeing, and what they don't know, and unknowing their knowingness?
I love them. We at Unblinded love them. And that they are not seeing what they are not seeing.
No doubt.
About how much they can accelerate everything, have more fun doing it. So they make more money in less time with more magic, period, in 30 seconds. That's it. And if you need 30 more seconds, like, well, everybody says that, then I'll make you a bet. Come on the Real Raw, and I will whoop your butt up one side and down the other at not only your influence mastery, but what your process mastery is to double your income, because you all want to do it. And you're just afraid that you don't know how. And something's holding you back.
Sean, can I use that as access real quick for what Fernando said? Because I thought that was a beautiful thing he said.
Yeah.
I think in the industry, Jim, and you know this, I think the industry trains from the outside first instead of really the inside out. And I think that Sean touched on this at the top when he talked about knowingness. And I think we all are comfortable when we're in the space of knowingness. It's the question is, how do we handle when we don't know something? How do we, like Archimedes, and I've said this in the past, find a lever big enough to snap us out of our own complacency, to look for a handhold? I think Sean initially was a good handhold for me, and still is, but when I first met him. And how do we do that so we could snap out of our own status quo, our own, let me just kind of control everything around me. And at the same time, by being able to do that, I think the answer lies in I know the answer lies in the formula, because once every time I do the formula to the best of my ability that day, and it's always about getting better, I think that's where I could tap into the antenna and really tap into the universe where I get creative. I live in an abundant mindset, and all phenomenal ideas start flowing my way. But in order to get to that space where I can act like an antenna, it really lies into the principles and formula.
Two quick things, Rob. Let me just jump in real quick. One, Fernando, Jim, I just heard Rob Gill like reference Archimedes. Like on the Unblinded Huddle.
Yeah.
Rob Gill dropping some Archimedes.
That's right.
It wasn't Tyler Callagy. That was Rob Gill dropping some Archimedes. Drop the mic, Rob. Like,
and as we all know, Socrates once said, "The body of all knowledge is one."
Look at Rob.
Look at this guy.
This is unbelievable. Okay.
Bayonne meets the Romans. I love
From the streets to the suites. Let's go.
Yes. So real quick, because we're going to bring this home, even though I want to do this all day. And I truly do. When you hear us talking, don't hear fraternity. Don't hear fraternity. I don't like fraternities. I have issues with fraternities. I don't like anything that causes people to do harmful things for themselves and that has a cultish, the whole is more than, like the whole equals your subjugation. Do hear peak athletic teams. Do hear winning of respect, of love, of fun. Do hear that. Because I love Rob and we tease each other, we have some fun, but it's never abusive, harmful, subjugating, negative, oppressive, but we also don't take ourselves too seriously. And, you know, we could get an email that goes, Rob, you said a bunch of blind people running around. Like, that's not nice. And like, I honor your reality. Like, I am blind. You go, well, you know, well, you at least have some peripheral vision. Like, we love everybody.
Yes.
But if we're going to sit here and like, not like take ourselves so seriously about everything and anything that we can't just look at, like, yeah, you don't normally see an event with a whole bunch of blind people mixed in with a whole bunch of business people, and has interesting, it's the most beautiful thing in the world, or deaf people or wheelchair bound people. It's a beautiful thing and it's unique and it creates dynamics of like, who's walking the dogs? Like the dogs are barking during the seminar. That's funny. Cause to me, it's funny because stuff like that doesn't normally happen is the beauty of it. Just like if a baby, like, you know, does something crazy and draws all over the wall, like it's an unintended, it's like, oh my God, like, what do we do with this? Like, this is new because it's still disruptive, but it's beautiful and fun and cool. And we have fun and laugh. So Unblinded is about building that kind of ecosystem, not woo-woo, not like, let's meditate and say Om, right? Like, and I'm not making fun of it. I pray every day. So I'm not making fun of spirituality at all, but I'm saying it's not what we are. We're like, when you get to the locker room, like, what's up, brother? Let's go. What's up, sister? Like, right? And by the way, in case you're thinking this is male dominated, my daughter just came out of going almost to be in the state finals in high school soccer, loving her teammates, wrote one of the most beautiful Instagram posts imaginable to end her career. So this isn't about men and women, because she was with her sisters in being driven to measure and monitor goals, wins, dynamics, reps, speed, right? So it's sport and it's not men or women, but it is fun, aspirational, goddess and Zeus energy. So don't ever drop into the perspective that we start talking about this, it's male. Go talk to my daughter, Courtney, and she'll tell you what time it is. About the powerful importance of youth energy. When she drilled from 22 yards out, go Google the article, Courtney Cocker, the boom, and Courtney Callagy, the boom and the bounce of her putting the team in the state championship, right? And what that meant. And then the Instagram post, which makes me cry every time I read it, as she said goodbye to her sisters in battle, who from the time they were 5 years old fought together for a dream. And that's what Unblinded is. It's finding not transactional networking, not referring. It's finding your brothers and sisters to work with, have fun with, battle with, accelerate with, laugh at each other, jostle, get a little pissed off, right? Like this stuff goes on in teams to build that to win a championship. Jim Carroll, what say you about that?
You know what? I laugh because we talked the other day, and when you're talking about agents, we have independent agents. So they are not captive like with a group. They get to represent any company they want. So one of the conversations you and I had was, if someone has a 30-year career, do they have 30 years experience or do they have 1 year's experience 30 times?
Ouch.
Pause. Let's applaud that.
Ouch.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time, Jim, because that is drop the mic. Please, one more time.
And it's, you know, you got to look in the mirror on this one, because it's all of us. Do you have 30 years experience or 1 year's experience 30 times?
Sure.
And where I'm going with that is we're creatures of habit. We do the same thing over and over, and we tend to take the path of the least resistance, the easiest way out. And what Unblinded is doing and timing for me selfishly and the people that I work with could not have happened any better. There's uncertainty and fear. These are people that do well, and their whole life has been turned upside down, and their regular way is no longer the regular way. They're thinking, they're commissioned salespeople. They're trying to figure out how to pay for their bills in the future by using Zoom. Taking advantage of the relationships, right time, right place. What are we doing Thursday, Sean? We're doing a webinar wizard for all of the agents in my region. And the whole idea is to teach them not just to go read a PowerPoint, but how to do a webinar and have a success formula built into it. Again, it's the first step. You got to crawl before you can walk, but this is a exponential journey. It's on a J curve. It starts slow, but when it starts to make that curve, you got to get out of the way. I mean,
and
you either jump on the bus or you get left at the field house.
And the biggest inhibitor, and it's two things we're teaching people in Blinded. You either got to make sure you get your influence mastery skill set up to a level that's in the 9s, or you better partner up with people who have it in the 9s. Because if you don't have the influence mastery piece in place, you can't possibly monetize any reaction. And that's what we're talking about. So
can I say something real quick about that? Because when you say that, it always jumps out at me. And I'll try not to butcher this. And I'm talking mainly to salespeople, but this is in general to everyone. There's 4 types of consciousness. You are consciously incompetent. It means you're doing what you do and you suck at it and you don't even know you suck. Second one is you are unconsciously competent, which means you've progressed or are getting a little better.
I think you flipped those. So I think it's unconsciously incompetent and then consciously incompetent.
And then consciously incompetent, which means at that point, you're trying to make a difference, but you're still incompetent. You're not very good at it yet. But working at it.
But at least you know, and now you have a vision that you got to get better at this, right? So that's
measure and monitor.
Exactly. You're aware. The third one is, and this is the one that is a little scary. It's consciously, it's
consciously
competent, which is when you're trying to do it right and you're uncomfortable at it, you're stiff, and it does not flow. It's not you. And of course, the last one is unconsciously competent, where it is who you are. It is, you don't need a script. They say this and you say that. It is who your being is. And that's where, in the mastery program, you need to be. And that's, to me, the challenge after 30 minutes in a breakout meeting with you is, I was like, wow. Every time I think I have it figured out, I hear something that just challenges me to get back and to be a better student of the game, to get better and to make myself better, to help others. So awesome. That to me is what Unblinded is all about.
Love that.
That's what you're dropping. So Rob Gill, final. So thank you, Jim. Can't wait for you on the Real Raw later. Rob, if people and everybody, Unblinded Business Accelerator today, Jared will talk about it, is the place to be and to hear. But Rob, if people are like, yeah, like I get it, like sales training, I know, like, you know, another guy teaching like business acceleration, like I get it. If that's what they said and you had 30 seconds to unblind them to truth, what would you say?
I would tell them that if they, first of all, I would kind of dig a little bit into what their current number is, especially if they're saying, yeah, what their current business looks like. I'd like to create that pain point first. And then at that point, what I would do is pivot immediately to what I had been able to achieve as a result of not only just getting close to, but then beginning to incorporate the formula itself and where it's brought me at as of this particular day and time. And I would give examples, and I would really kind of paint the picture, subject matter specific to the industry that we're talking, and I'm assuming a life insurance agent. And I would encourage them to change everything they've done and just to kind of, empty out their teacup and be open towards what we could bring going forward based on these principles. If I had 30 seconds.
Awesome. Brother, love you. Jim, Rob, love you both. Can't wait.
Sean, can I share one thing before we hang up for everybody that's listening pertaining to, because when people see us have fun, they're like, oh, those guys, they're great friends. And I know what that feels like when you're on the outside. I think it's important to understand that from the day that I met you to the day that we met in my office was about 6 months, and probably 200 either text, phone calls, or messages before we actually ever got connected. You did not recruit me. I was not a blue chip recruit. I like to say I was beachfront property at the time when we met on foreclosure, and I had to fight every way to get into your world. And I think once I got in, I looked around, I took a deep breath, and that's why I probably couldn't even work the formula, because it took me so long just to get in the front door before I started to work the formula after that as time went on. And as far as what I was talking about, like, the visually impaired folks or the blind people, they are the greatest communicators I've ever come across. I always want to give a shout out to my brother, Ben Fox, who brought me to tears when I went out to Arizona with you to see all the good people out in Arizona. And I think that was where there was another dynamic change, a shift change in what was going on in our world at that point as well.
Yeah, and on that note, so for everybody, we talk about, I am on the board of the American Foundation for the Blind. Kirk Adams was on yesterday. Mona, Hala did a fantastic job. Kavan, thanks for being there, brother. We're absolutely lighting it up and crushing it. Just having a ton of fun yesterday. And so as I look at that, and David dropping the mic all over the place with his feedback, David Gonzalez, rock star. I am not speaking on behalf of the American Foundation for the Blind when I say this, that part of my disruption is I want to empower blind people to unlock their superpower of influence. Because my personal belief is that will be the fastest way I can impact the rate of unemployment for the blind, which includes loosening people up and making people lighter, not making fun of their condition, but being able to have some fun, laugh, accelerate, who are people dealing with unbelievable pain. My grandfather, their house is 200 meters from where we are right now. He passed away a while ago, and he didn't have my opportunities. He didn't graduate from 8th grade. He didn't go to high school, and he was a manual laborer losing his sight. So I never lose sight of the idea that I had in my visual loss process a lot of opportunities that other people like my grandfather didn't have, and that is never outside my nervous system. But if I'm going to help people, I can't change people's sight, and I don't think I could change really quickly how employers think. My game is I want to teach blind people to unlock their superpower and teach them what to do with it, and empower them to realize that we ain't changing the way the world thinks until you're out there whooping some butt. And that's what we're doing in real world role plays, and you blind people can run those too, right? And I love you. And you represent my grandfather, and he was the most informative, demonstrative force in the creation of my Zeus energy throughout my entire childhood, because he was an animal and a beast and full of love and tenderness at the same time. His fun, aspirational Zeus goddess energy dynamic of variance for a guy like that didn't go to high school was better than any in history. I guarantee it. Legendary street fighter in Jersey City as a teenager into his 20s, as he was going blind. Ferocious animal, got hit in the face with a lead pipe working a public service that he didn't see, then picked up the guy and was going to throw him on the high tension wire, so 5 people tackled him, right? And you're like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about the ferocity, intensity that exists inside of us, and to awaken it. Not to throw people on high tension wires, right? But to use that to build your business and confront and deal with the world as it is, not as we wish it would be. That's my message, nobody else's, right? And so that's what we're doing here. Love everybody. Real raw today. We're going to have some fun. Rob, Jim, yes?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Jared, final. Yes, let's go, brother. Jared, final.
Final, Jim and Rob, awesome job. Chat is blowing up. We're already slightly over, so just to give you some optics on today, like Sean said, we have the real raw sales role play at 3 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Pacific time. Come and see Jim Carroll and Rob Gill. Link is in the chat. We also have our live Q&A session, but it's not really a Q&A session. It's more of me interviewing Sean on what's going to happen over the 6-week Unblinded Business Acceleration Immersion. We're going to talk about what it is. We're also going to talk about why having 9 of your ecosystem partners go through this experience with you will accelerate your experience, and how to get those 9 people to say yes. There is no registration required for this session. So copy the Zoom link. It's in the chat. We'll send out emails and text messages today as well. So you will get that. That is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Yes.
Jared, let me interrupt you. Jim and Rob, your number's not 9 each. It's 50 each, right? Because you're who you are. It's 50 each should be going through the Unblinded Business Accelerator, both of you. That is my coaching homework for both of you. And any rock star should be 50. Anybody with a pulse should be 9. Go ahead, Jared.
Awesome. And can't wait to see you. It's going to be absolutely amazing. This is what all of you that showed up for last week are looking for. You're looking for what is the next step when it comes to using Unblinded and accelerating forward. So please be there. Copy the Zoom link. It'll be about an hour, maybe 75 minutes long. I'll be interviewing Sean so we can get deep into the distinctions of what this means for you. Back to Sean for some final.
Yeah, Rob Gill, you still live or no, brother?
I'm here, brother.
Yeah. Have I ever asked you to do from the day I met you something that would benefit me that wouldn't benefit you every bit as much and more? Ever one time?
Never.
Right. That's what we're doing here.
Yep.
Follow
I get
them
it.
up. This is who Rob Gill is. This is who we are. This is how you're going to create massive acceleration. Unblinded Business Accelerator. Love you. It's Trajectory Tuesday. Let's go get it. Thanks.
Now it's time to break through and crush fear and distortion. What is the one zone action step that will help you most today to make more money in less time and with more magic, and contribute value to the Unblinded ecosystem? After you crush it, then head over to our private Facebook community at www.unblindedmovement.com to share your big win for the day. If you feel great about the Unblinded Huddle, please share your win for today and any questions you may have for us, along with a 5-star review so we can reach more like-minded people like you. And if you have not already subscribed, please visit www.unblindedhuddle.com to be part of our live ecosystem audience for each morning huddle so that we can help you see what you don't see about the fun, excitement, and magic of exponentially growing your sales.